A big hello and a very warm welcome to Checkered Flag with me, Sonali Krishna. As the name suggests, Checkered Flag is all about Formula One. But over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to deconstruct the entire economics of the Indian Grand Prix. And to help me do that, I have with me a very eminent personality who's been kind enough to say yes to co-host the show with me and be the expert on the show. I'm talking about none other than Karun Chandok, the ace driver of India. So thanks very much for joining us.
Happy to lend my 2 cents to anything to do with F1.
So Karun, I first want to talk about Formula One as a property and of course Bernie. For the uninitiated, Bernie is the whole and soul of Formula One, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that he's bought the rights for Formula One for 100 years.
I think he bought it in 2002 for 100 years.
Yeah.
So he's probably still got a long way to go on that. I mean, he's also the only person, you'll know more about this than me, but he's the only person I could think of who's sold his company 3 times over, made $1 billion every time,
right,
with a B,
okay,
and is still in charge. And it's a fascinating case study, I think, for anybody.
So what's the math looking like? How much money is Bernie and his team going to be making out of the Indian Grand Prix? We're going to compare it to other Grand Prix and give you a very consolidated view on how much the Indian Grand Prix will finally make. Tara Kapoor gets you the story.
Business magnate, ruthless capitalist, the czar of motorsports, F1 Supremo. Put all these phrases together and you get Mr. Formula One, Bernie Ecclestone.
This is Formula One.
A man who honed his skills as a second-hand car dealer and converted the simple adrenaline-pumping sport called motor racing into one of the biggest, loudest and most powerful money-making machines.
Bernie Ecclestone is one of the best salesmen you'll ever meet in your life. That's what makes him what he is. He goes to nations and sells dreams. It's very easily to get seduced by his point of view. He knows the weaknesses of the people. That's one of his plus point.
At the age of 80, his mind and his brain is as sharp as it can be. It's been a one-man show. He has run it. And he's bought the rights fees with, he bought it from the FIA for $339 million for the next 100 years.
Thanks to Bernie's marketing acumen, the only cost FOM has really incurred till date has been buying the 100-year lease for the F1 rights for approximately $340 million from the FIA. But given the fact that the Formula One management has made over $1 billion over the last 2 years, the acquisition cost in hindsight seems to be a steal. And to ensure that the sport is a cash cow of sorts, 80-year-old Bernie ensures that with virtually no cost, Formula One management reaps the maximum revenues. And this is how he does it. Majority of the cost is borne by the circuit developers and the teams themselves, while almost all streams of revenue, barring ticket sales, flows back to the FOM. Here's the breakup of the Indian GP. Title sponsor Airtel pays FOM $8 million a year. JP Group has paid Bernie and gang approximately $40 million to host the event. Add to that, brands like LG, DHL and Pirelli Tires have doled out anything between $8 to $10 million for various sponsorship deals, which amounts to about $40 million. A total of $88 million out of the Indian Grand Prix so far. The rest of the revenues, including the approximate $3 million ESS pays per race for the broadcast rights in Asia, are in turn divided annually between the teams and the FOM in a two-way split. What is interesting is the way Bernie manages to get the sweetest deal compared to the rest of the investors and stakeholders. Sure, FOM has had its fair share of resistance, but besides making Bernie controversy's favorite child, this man has come out of some of the most fatal fires absolutely unscathed. And the secret behind that mystery is the global viewership numbers that F1 garners year on year. With such a mammoth following, Formula One is today the darling of advertisers and has put the FOM and Bernie in particular in the driver's seat.
More than 500 million people watch it across the globe. and mostly younger groups of people. And this is now no more a sport which is restricted to people who can go to the circuit and watch it.
And I think he wants to span the world so that the Formula One circus remains and becomes even more of a marketing tool for the global sponsors.
The Formula One industry today has become a true microcosm of the world economy. So much so that Eccleston today has the ability to negotiate and pit one circuit against another to decide who will host the 20 coveted races a year, ensuring maximum profitability to the FOM.
When the European circuit started saying, no, we're not making money, either, don't charge us or whatever, the Canadian Grand Prix disappeared, this one disappeared. To keep them in check now, he wants to make sure there are excessive circuits. So you can play one against the other. So every year you'll find that there will be always one Grand Prix under threat for some reason or the other.
On the face of it, the Indian Grand Prix will make a sizable sum of money for the FOM. But if the sport fails to catch the fancy of the Indian masses and doesn't deliver in terms of profitability on a sustainable basis, Bernie and company may just let the axe fall on the Indian Grand Prix, just like they did with Montreal.